number of COVID-19 cases continues to rise globally and right here in Guyana. Therefore, we encourage everyone to practice social distancing, wear a mask if you have to leave your homes, and wash your hands thoroughly and frequently as we strive to stop the spread of the virus. Welcome to Info Hub for Tuesday, July 7. Thanks for joining us. The government of Guyana, through the National COVID-19 Task Force Secretariat, continues to take a holistic approach to ensure the nation's people are protected and catered for during the COVID-19 pandemic. This was reiterated by the Secretariat's Operation Director, Mark Archer, during a virtual press conference on Saturday. More in this report. The Secretariat's Operation Director stated that food security remains a top priority. As such, the COVID-19 Public Assistance Program was implemented to address the needs of those affected by the pandemic. The program targets single-parent households, households in which one or more persons suffer a loss of income due to COVID-19, and households that are managed by elderly persons or persons living with disabilities all across the country.
By 25th May, approximately 2,000 persons had applied for public assistance using the online platform. The majority of the applicants, 64%, were from the Demerara-Mahaica region, Region 4, followed by Region 3, 6, and 10 in that order. The majority of applicants indicated that their primary need was assistance to access food.
He explained that due to the overwhelming response to the program, a decision was taken to make June 5 the cutoff date for initial applications and commence the verification process of the applicants.
The Executive Secretariat was forced to make a number of decisions regarding the pandemic assistance program to the public. We were conscious of the situation existing in vulnerable communities, and we decided to, one, have a cutoff date on Friday, 5th June, for the first phase of applicants for public assistance, and two, to immediately start a verification process of those who had applied up to that date, so that we could begin to render the assistance that was so urgently needed.
It was decided that persons living along the coast will receive vouchers to visit select supermarkets, while those in hinterland communities will benefit from hamper distributions. CXC oral examinations have commenced with Spanish, Portuguese, and French slated for this week. Written examinations begin next week. The full timetable can be accessed on cxc.org. The Caribbean Court of Justice is set to rule on Wednesday whether it has jurisdiction to overturn the June 22 decision of Guyana's Court of Appeal, which gave orders to the Guyana Elections Commission to consider only valid votes to determine the results of the March 2 polls. Alexis Rodney tells us more.
A week after listening to submissions in the Ali Jagdeo versus Eslyn David and others application, the CCJ will hand down its decision. Analysts both in the legal and political fields are hard-pressed that an assumption of jurisdiction by the CCJ will have irreparable constitutional and political consequences. Guyana's position remains that the CCJ cannot intervene in the matter. Attorney General Senior Counsel Basil Williams has been steadfast in the binding power of Article 177(4) of the Constitution and the Caribbean Court of Justice Act Chapter 307, which prohibits any further appeal of any decisions handed down by Guyana's Court of Appeal. On Monday, June 22nd, Justices Brassington Reynolds and Don Gregory both ruled that the appeal court had jurisdiction to hear a matter filed by private citizen Eslyn David, prohibiting the Guyana Elections Commission from making a declaration of the election's results using votes found to be fraudulent. The PPP has now approached the CCJ with the knowledge that the Caribbean Court has no jurisdiction to ask that the appeals court's decision be struck down. In his submission last Wednesday, Attorney Reginald Armour cautioned the 5 panel judges to not overstep the edict of Guyana's Constitution and the CCJ Act.
Your lordships must be very slow, very deliberate, and very careful to approach this case carefully within the context of the Constitution and your treaty to determine the correct legal interpretation to be given to your treaty in relation to jurisdiction and to 177 in relation to the section under which the Court of Appeal, we say, correctly found as they did.
Armour's argument has been the talking point of every legal mind that has perused the application. Lawyers within and outside of Guyana have argued that Guyana's constitution is pellucid and should not be disrespected by any outside interference. Senior counsel Armour closed his arguments last Wednesday, reminding the court of the words of its very own judge, Justice Winston Anderson.
His Honor, Mr. Justice Winston Anderson, one of your brothers, Millard, has actually spoken extrajudicially on this very subject, and we put that in our tab 3. He gave a speech at the Norman Manley Law School back in 2013, I believe it was, and he recognized in that speech the limitations of the Caribbean Court of Justice in relation to Section 177.4. He recognized it as an impediment to the jurisdiction of this case, of this court's jurisdiction. And he expressed the wish that that situation could be improved. But he nevertheless recognized that any sound lawyer, and as any good judge must, and I quote him, there is little, if anything, that the CCJ can do, in effect, end of quote, can do, in effect, to change the Constitution of Guyana.
Armour said, as hard as it may be for the judges to recognize it, the courts is legally constrained in this regard. For InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
Meanwhile, APNU AFC protesters from various parts of the country took to the streets on Monday morning ahead of the Caribbean Court of Justice's decision, expected on Wednesday, to make clear their position that the court has no jurisdiction on the current Guyana elections case. As reported by the Guyana Chronicle Online, the groups of protesters were present in Georgetown at locations such as Mandela Avenue, Agricola, and Boxton, and even all the way in Lindon. They were clad in party colors, face masks, and held up placards while practicing social distancing. Their messages included, CCJ must respect Guyana's constitution, CEO guided by our final court, respect our sovereignty, and more. According to the report, persons were present from constituencies 11, 12, 13, and 14. Guyana Youth and Student Movement Chairman Ryan Belgrave told the newspaper that the demonstrations were meant as a reminder to Guyanese locally and members of CARICOM that Guyana is a sovereign state and demands that its constitution be respected. Meanwhile, Councillor of Georgetown City Council Denroy Tudor, holding up his own placard, said the constitution is clear and CCJ cannot play a blind eye to it. The National COVID-19 Task Force has facilitated the return of approximately 1,300 Guyanese who were stranded abroad since June 6. This was disclosed by Chairman of the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority's Board of Directors, Lieutenant Colonel Larry Lindon, at a virtual meeting hosted by the Task Force Secretariat.
Flights have thus far brought home nationals in Miami, New York, and Barbados. On July 9, London confirmed the first flight out of Toronto, Canada, will land at the Cheddar-Jagan International Airport, CJIA, with citizens via WestJet. Nearly 140 Guyanese are already booked for the Toronto to CJIA flight. The second week of July will also see another flight of some 111 students in Trinidad making their way back to Guyana. Concerning students in Cuba, London noted that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is working alongside its diplomatic counterparts in the Spanish-speaking country to enable their repatriation. Further, the GCAA chairman announced citizens in Miami and New York will return on July 14 and 15, respectively. All returning citizens are subjected to the guidelines set out by the NCTF, which includes but is not limited to mandatory 7-day quarantine at their respective homes and the submission of a negative PCR test for COVID-19. GCAA has extended the first phase of the reopening of its airports to the end of July due to spikes in coronavirus cases in Florida, New York, and parts of Guyana. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
More news after this short break. Stay with us.
The COVID-19 pandemic has had a devastating effect on communities all across Guyana. Many households and individuals now find themselves in need of public assistance. The government of Guyana will be assisting the most vulnerable. Those eligible to apply for this assistance are as follows. Individuals and/or households who are currently benefiting from public assistance provided by the Ministry of Social Protection. individuals and/or households who applied for public assistance and are awaiting a response from the Ministry of Social Protection, individuals and/or households who suffered a loss of income due to COVID-19, and households headed by senior citizens or persons with disabilities. Application forms can be downloaded from the Ministry of Social Protection's website at www.mosp.gov.gy or government.gy/eform/241. For further information, please call these numbers. We are in this together. This is a message from the Government of Guyana. We are here to serve you.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Public Health has reported a sharp increase in the number of coronavirus cases, with 3 new deaths over the weekend. The ministry is imploring persons to adhere to the health advisories and measures to help contain the spread of the deadly virus. Kellon Rover tells us more.
6 new cases of the novel coronavirus were recorded on Friday after 43 tests were conducted within a 24-hour period. Among the additional cases tested positive were an 18-year-old man, making this the first case recorded in the district. The man was said to have traveled from Maruka in Region 1, where he resides, to visit relatives living on the outskirts of Mahdia. Also on Friday, the Ministry of Public Health confirmed Guyana's 14th death from COVID-19. The dead man was identified as Muhammad Abdul Khan, 34 years old of Bartika, who passed Thursday, July 2nd at approximately 1400 hours at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Sadly, on Saturday, another 16 positive cases were confirmed, which took the overall total to 272 at the end of that day. No deaths were recorded on Saturday. Additionally, on Sunday morning, Donna Greaves, a 25-year-old Region 9 teacher, was recorded as Guyana's 15th COVID-related death. Greaves succumbed at the hospital's intensive care unit after being admitted on July 1. GPHC in a recent statement has refuted all claims, which indicated that Greaves contracted the contagious and deadly virus while seeking treatment at the facility. The Ministry of Public Health on Monday evening also confirmed Guyana's 16th COVID-19 death. The Ministry of Public Health on Monday evening also confirmed Guyana's 16th COVID-19 related death. The person is 76-year-old female May Portsmouth, who passed on Sunday at the Georgetown Public Hospital. In addition, medical teams will be in Aranca and surrounding mining areas in Region 7, as well as Maruka in Region 1 in coming days to tackle the sudden spike of COVID-19 cases in these areas. As this is taking place, a mandatory lockdown will be implemented in both areas. This will allow the health team to conduct mass screening and testing of individuals living and working in these areas. Already, there is a 14-day lockdown in Santa Rosa, a village in Maruka, Barimawaini. Persons are again reminded to continue practicing social distancing in the workplace, public spaces, and while using public transportation to reduce the spread of the virus. They are also reminded to practice frequent hand washing, sanitizing, and always wear a face mask if they have to go out. For InfoHub, I am Kellon Rover.
A screening unit has been set up at the Bug Hall Landing area in Essequibo. This area is a gateway to mining communities, including Aranca, which has seen a sharp increase in positive COVID-19 cases. According to a health worker there, the screening unit will operate on a 24-hour basis so as to capture any possible cases either going in or coming out of the mining areas. 7 volunteers have also been trained to work at the screening unit. Our InfoHub team is in the area and will provide a detailed report. The government of Guyana came in for high praises on Saturday as beneficiaries of the COVID-19 Public Assistance Voucher Program in Lindon uplifted their items. Details in this report. InfoHub traveled to the mining town to speak with some residents about the initiative.
I'm very much appreciated by the effort and the help that I'm getting. At least I know that there is help if whenever you ask for it, you get it.
I would say it's very, very good, especially for the persons who, can't afford. And at this time, it's very good. And I the initiative I said that this government did is good, and I was only hoping that it happened before, this whole thing started, that we were able to get through before them, because, things are rough right now. So I'm very glad.
It's really a good help for me because, especially for the children, I'm really thankful and thank God and thank you all very much for helping me out.
It's very a good program. It's nice what the government doing, and I would like to continue the supporting other people with everything we do.
Persons who may not be eligible but have yet to apply can still do so. The application form can be downloaded from the Ministry of Social Protection's website. Persons who do not have internet access can contact the Ministry of Communities or the Ministry of Social Protection and have their application form completed by an officer. Mobile energy response and enforcement teams are to be established throughout the country to enforce the COVID-19 emergency measures. This was disclosed by the National COVID-19 Task Force Secretariat's Operation Director Mark Archer during a virtual press briefing. The team will comprise members of the Guyana Police Force and the Ministry of Public Health. The number of COVID-19 cases in Guyana is rising sharply again, and within the past few days, there have been several deaths. This has been attributed to persons not adhering to the emergency measures outlined by the Ministry of Public Health and the NCTF. Noting that there needs to be more enforcement of the emergency measures, Archer disclosed that a directive was given to the Ministry of Public Security to establish a special unit to enforce not only measures such as the curfew, but also to go into new hotspots in our interior regions so that we can bring an end to some of the lawlessness that is happening in some of the mining camps. He explained that both landings, bridges, roadways, mining and lodging camps and villages where there are reports of persons are not adhering to the curfew and social distancing will be targeted. The same will be done in Georgetown. Additionally, officials in Santa Rosa, Maruco Region 1 have implemented a 14-day lockdown due to the increasing number of COVID-19 cases. There will be also a partial lockdown in the Upper Mazaruni Region 7 beginning from July 7, 2020. Remember to do your part to ensure you do not put yourself at risk during this time. If you have a cough, fever, and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early, but call the hotline first. That's all for today. Connect with us on all our social media platforms, including WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, as we bring you the latest and important news related to COVID-19 and much more. Also, subscribe to our website, dpi.gov.gy. Your bird report is up next. Goodbye for now.